Surprisingly, it's not exactly difficult to lose track of a tunnel, and believe me, New York City has forgotten about several of their own, be it from the city's expansion to the events of World War II, or just plain old falling out of use. The fact is, there are cavernous mazes of man-made spaces under the city that have literally been lost and forgotten. Today, I will present you a few stories of the forgotten tunnels of New York City. In 1981, Robert Diamond set out on a journey to the Cobble Hill Tunnel. His search consisted of crawling around into sealed portions of underground Brooklyn, when one day he happened upon a concrete wall with protruding bricks and stones. So with the help of a crowbar and some elbow grease, he was able to break open and unseal the Atlantic Avenue Tunnel. He was so excited by his discovery that he began conducting tours to other curious minds, though this was short-lived. The New York City Fire Department shut down his tour service after they heard he was prying open a manhole cover in broad daylight in the middle of the street. You see, this was necessary so that he could allow guests to access the tunnels via a ramshackle ladder, citing some very obvious safety concerns. All the same, Bob Diamond is still very well remembered for being the man that rediscovered the world's first subway tunnel. Moving on, we have the story of New York's lost mail tunnel. Let's start the journey at the James A. Farley Building, which is New York City's primary post office and once operated 24/7 until the recession forced it to begin closing at 10 p.m. back in 2009. Built in 1914 in the Beaux-Arts style, just like Grand Central Terminal and Michigan Central Station, which we've talked about in previous videos, it has been a very busy building throughout its history. And over the years, mystery has widely surrounded this building. You see, locals have observed much of it to be empty, an observation that would raise important questions. For example, if this postal office is so busy and so important, yet mostly empty, where does all the mail actually get processed? The answer comes from a set of buildings just down the block on 9th Avenue, where you will find the Morgan Processing and Distribution Center, the USPS's largest sorting facility. It is a massive complex of buildings, taking up 2 entire city blocks, processing all the mail going in and out of the postal office. Previously, the Morgan Center and the Farley Post Office were connected by a freight railway, which crossed a viaduct, but when it fell out of use, another route of travel was needed. And considering how close these 2 facilities are together, the natural response would probably be simple, like take the mail down the road. But with the hustle and bustle of city life and roads clogged with traffic, that's much easier said than done. So a tunnel was dug between the 2 facilities, generally following 9th Avenue, and that is where the mail flowed. This mail tunnel served its purpose well until 2002, at which point the hauling of mail ceased, as the New York State government began talks to purchase the Farley Building and transform it into a train hall. Naturally, after the tunnel's closure, they fell into abandonment and despair. The stairs and elevators leading below ground were sealed shut, and rats began to infest the vacant space. Finally, the Farley Building also contains an entrance to tracks from Penn Station, which is yet again another building that we've talked about on previous episodes, though it was never used for passenger service. This forgotten tunnel was swept and secured by the Secret Service with the intention of it being used during the Pope's 2015 visit. But that's about all we know. This tunnel has met a very similar fate to the Farley Morgan Mail Tunnel, as all of its entrances have been sealed. The city even went as far as welding shut manholes to make sure that absolutely nobody could get inside. Now let's head back over to Brooklyn, where we will discover the tunnels that once supported a swimming pool that accommodated thousands and thousands of people at a time. From 1903 to 1905, the city of New York acquired 4 plots of land in Brooklyn surrounded by all sorts of industrial works, chemical plants, ironworks, and more. These plots of land would be developed into a park, first known as Greenpoint Park, being renamed to McCarran Park in 1909 after Patrick Henry McCarran, a popular politician who passed away in that same year. Initially being a collection of playgrounds and athletic facilities, the park gradually expanded, adding more facilities and gardens as the 20th century rolled forward. By 1936, as part of President Roosevelt's New Deal, the WPA, or Works Progress Administration, built 11 state-of-the-art pools in New York City, one of which was the McCarran Park Pool. The pool was quite nice. Even by today's standard, this pool offered a gigantic capacity of 6,800 swimmers, with filtration and heating systems, all controlled by an enormous boiler room. This boiler room was connected to an even more enormous tunnel system all the way around the perimeter to keep systems in check. This pool was so modern that it even had underwater lighting, which was unheard of for the time. While the pool was a hit and a major social hub for the community, by 1984 it had fallen into a poor state and hence was closed, but the tunnel system remained. Circling directly beneath the pool deck and with an entrance to both the boiler and filtration room, the tunnel is almost as impressive as the pool itself, lying abandoned for 20 years until the pool came to be used as a concert and entertainment venue. Amazingly, by 2012, the pool had been refurbished and was reopened, this time with a capacity of 1,500 swimmers. It isn't as large as it once was. The diving pool has been filled in and converted into a volleyball court, and some of the 100-year-old tunnel system is still utilized, but much of it sits untouched and abandoned right under the park.